Okay, a couple quick things to review. Last week we were plotting these on a number line where you did the open or closed circle. Now we're just doing it two-dimensional on our coordinate plane. And we're just going to, we want to show which points, which coordinates are solutions of this inequality. Okay, so if we first just graph that line, I just gave you a couple reminders over there. If you don't have an equal sign under here, that means it's a dashed line. The points on that line are not included. If you were to say y could be greater than or equal to 1/4 x plus 3, then you would include the points on the line. But we don't want to include the points on the line. So we're going to graph the boundary line first, a dashed line. We'll start at y-intercept of 3. Slope is up 1/4. Okay. I'm going to graph it over here too. It's a good idea when you do your homework, just grab a ruler. I'm going to use the, let's see here. Use this little dashed line here. Okay, that's a little wavy. I wanted the different one, but it's okay. Okay. Yeah, like I said, when you do it, just use a ruler. But, and then how do we decide which points are solutions? How do we decide that?
Points that are greater than
Yes, we'll just plug in a point. Yes. You can't really say for sure if it's above or below unless you test a point. So I usually just like to use, if you can, unless it goes through 0, 0, just use that. We'll use this as our test. So we'll put in 0 for y, and we'll put in 0 for x. So you'd have 0 is greater than 3. That's not true. So we would shade up here. These are the points that are solutions of that inequality. What's that? Yes. So what does that represent again where I shaded? Yep. All the solutions. For example, if you pick one like, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Say I pick like 0, 5. So x would be 0. So if I plug that in here, 0 for x and 5 over here. So I would have 5 is greater than 3. That's true. So any of these points up here, if you were to test them, they would be true. Any of the ones down here won't work. So you're just given a visual of which points are solutions of it. Okay? So will this be a solid line or a dashed line? Dashed line, good. How will I graph that? Horizontal at -2, very good. So horizontal at -2. This one we don't really have to test a point. You could, but we want the y's that are less than -2. So that would be below it. You could test it. I mean, if you put in 0, 0, we don't have an x in there, so you just put in 0 for y. 0 is less than, 0 is not less than -2. So we would want to shade down here. So you put in a test point. If the test point works, you shade that part. If it doesn't work, you shade the other part. Okay. This would be a solid line. And how will this one go? Vertical, good. So vertical at x equals 1. I'll put my arrows on there. And we want all the points, we want to shade all the points where the x coordinate is greater than or equal to 1. So you'd want to shade over here to the right. Yes, good. Okay. All of these points, for example, you take 9, 1. All of these points have an x-coordinate of greater than 1, greater than or equal to 1. Okay. Now, this is a good example to use. You could put it into slope-intercept form, which is fine. But what's a quick way to find our intercepts? Yes. So if I plug in 0 for x, I would get -2. I'm just going to find my intercepts. I'm just showing you another graphing technique because we're going to use this from time to time. If I put in 0 for y, so I put in 0 here, then it would be 5, right? This is just another graphing technique. If this number is divisible by both of those. So 0, -2, that's my y-intercept, and 5, 0 is my x-intercept. And that's going to be what kind of line? Solid. What does it mean again when it's solid?
That it can be on the line.
Yes, you could be on the line. If I were to pick a point on the line, it would work. And then I put a little test point. Let's test 0, 0. If I put in 0, 0, I'd have 0 and 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 10? No, so our test point doesn't work, so I shade the other side. Okay. And then here's one last example. Let's just write down our intercepts again. So our y-intercept, if I put in 0 for x, y would be 4. If I put in 0 for y, 2. Good. So we got 0, 4, 2, 0. That's going to be a dashed line. Put in 0 for x. So that's just 0. So then you could think of it like 3y equals 12. Yeah. So I plug in 0, 0. 0 is not greater than 12. So I'm going to shade this side. Okay. That's kind of a short section. Just a little review on how you graph those. Okay.